Hi friends, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. So it appears that this is the end of Twitter/X as we know it. Big news just came out that Apple is pulling ads from the platform, and they're not alone. I'm seeing here it's Disney, Comcast, Warner Brothers Discovery, Paramount Global, and Lionsgate Entertainment. And this is following Musk is involved in some anti-Semitic posts/tweets. I looked at this stuff for myself. I'll just say I'm not going to touch it. That's all I'm going to say. And as a CEO of a publicly traded company, you should be saying the same thing. When you see this kind of stuff, I'm not going to touch it. And unfortunately, there's just people out there who can't keep their Twitter/X fingers, still. They always got to be saying something stupid. And essentially, this is just a real thing somebody sees. And this is essentially what happens. Now, I know that the Elon Musk supporters will be like, "Oh, this is all about free speech, free speech, free speech." And yeah, I agree. Musk can say whatever he wants, and Apple, Disney, Comcast, Warner Brothers, Discovery, Paramount Global, Lionsgate Entertainment can spend their money wherever they want. So if they do not want their advertising appear next to essentially anti-Semitic, Nazi posts, these kind of things, they're just going to pull their ads. And this is actually something that we've been watching a long time. So Apple's not the first, company to announce that they've pulled ads. It's been happening for quite a while. Just Apple's a major, major company. I'm sure you guys know this. You could certainly argue that they're the most important company in the world. And essentially, when they do it, it kind of gives green light for lots of other companies to do it. And ultimately, Twitter/X may be completely transformed or just not exist anymore. And for those of you who are old enough, and I don't know, how old you are watching this, but social media companies aren't guaranteed to be a success. They're not guaranteed to survive. I remember like a MySpace. I remember like a Vine. I remember when Snap used to be really big, and then TikTok came along, right? There's any number of things that happen with this stuff. And I remember when Twitter/X used to be a thing before Elon Musk, right? And then Elon Musk took over. And a lot of people left, and one of the things that is also going on is Facebook developed, or I should say Meta developed Threads as over a Zuckerberg team. And so they're already trying to compete with them. And, when your advertisers are pulling out, it makes it tough. Now, if you don't understand how social media companies work, the basic idea is that they make a way for you to connect for free, right? And when you connect for free, more people join the platform. And the reason why you join the platform is because it's free. And what you do then is you take your customers' data and you sell it to advertisers so they can sell you stuff on it. And then the company gets money from advertising. That's the central business model of these type of companies. Now, if you do not have any content moderation in place and you allow, any number of violence, abuse, just any number of things, right? I'm not even talking about language. I'm just talking about like just graphic images or whatever. There's a lot of advertisers that, companies that don't want to put their ads next to said content. And I think that's a fairly simple concept to understand. It's always weird to me when the people who are defending the Musk and stuff like that act like they can't understand like these basic, really simple things. If I'm a big company and like someone's, putting all this posts all day, every day, and there's no moderation of like, any number of, we'll just say violence, any number of, violent acts, it's like, I don't really want to advertise in that kind of platform. And ultimately, usually those kind of platforms turn into big trolling sites. I think that's what X Twitter is now already. And then they just lose all their money and they just disappear. And so what's going to probably happen, and there's a couple scenarios here. One is people just stop using the platform. Okay, that's scenario one. Scenario two, theoretically, Elon Musk convinced y'all to spend $8 a month, $10 a month, or $20 a month to keep that thing going. But I think that's going to be really tough. The platforms that seem to do the really, keep a strong following, a strong user base like a Facebook, Instagram. You can talk about Reddit as well. Are all free. People go there because it's free, and more people use it because it's free. It's at least to my knowledge, and you guys can share if I'm completely wrong. I don't think there's any social media site that charges money that has a large user base that's like really popular. I'm they're all free to my knowledge. Like I said, if I'm missing out on something, let me know. Could Elon Musk pull it off? Maybe. The thing is though, what's so crazy about this whole discussion, and I've said it from the very, very beginning, Elon Musk is a human being. I know it may sound like a shock to some of you people, but he is a human being. He can't work 24 hours a day. He can't be in like 10 offices all at the same time. And for me, just as a human being, I would be fine if I was CEO of one company, be it Tesla or just SpaceX or Tesla and SpaceX. Man, imagine like, doing this for multiple companies. Think how crazy that is. But that's essentially what Elon Musk is trying to do. And it always felt like to me that he really spent way too much time on Twitter. Not just time, but also, money, also mental energy, any number of things. And then also he's dealing with some weird stuff where like, this is real in his personal life, like he's fighting over custodial rights of some of his kids and all this stuff. And it's like, what is going on with this guy? And ultimately, again, as I mentioned before, when you see these kind of posts that are, on Twitter, X or whatever, as a CEO of a public trade company, just don't get involved with this kind of stuff. Stay off social media entirely, generally speaking, and just let your PR department handle it. And honestly, like if you're getting involved with social media as a CEO of a public trade company, just stick to like birthday cakes and I'm out yachting or whatever, right? Just I don't know. I wouldn't get involved with this kind of stuff. There's just too much at stake, and it's just frankly not worth it. But I understand some people are all about these things. The other thing too, I was thinking about as well is like how fascinating it's been to watch this company, sort of dwindle down to where it is today. And people always turn this to some sort of political debate because anytime I post these kind of videos, people say, "Oh, Chris, you just hate free speech and these kind of things." For me, it's never been an issue with free speech. Like you're totally free to say what you want. I'm free to say what I want and stuff like that. I always take this one as like a business model. I think the takeover of Twitter, sort of like how do you fire employees? Is there a proper way to do it? Is there not a proper way or whatever? It's been really fascinating to see how like they've been doing things in such crazy ways. I remember in the beginning we first started talking about this, where like Twitter was auctioning off their kitchen equipment because like they fired all these people and then they have like all this extra stuff they don't need anymore. And then I remember when like they were announcing people are getting fired, and then like you had all these public posts of former employees that say I hate the company, I hate Twitter, all this kind of stuff. And then I remember when they changed their logo on the building, and I remember when they're like sleeping there, and then the San Francisco is like, hey, that can't be, can't let your employees sleep here too long because this isn't zoned to be a housing/hotel. Any number of drama. And honestly, because people say like, why do you care so much? Because it's entertaining, it's interesting to talk about this stuff. And it doesn't change my life one way or the other, whether or not Twitter stays or Twitter goes. It honestly doesn't affect my life. I'm not on the platform. I've never really liked it that much. And it is what it is. Now, one thing I will say, though, that when you do watch this is just understand, no matter what job that you're at, right, always have situational awareness. This is something that I think is just really important. Know where you're at, know who's watching, know what you're doing, and just control yourself. And as I said before, what happens to some people is they simply can't control themselves. And ultimately, you're seeing that it can cost you, even if you're like one of the richest dudes. I don't think he's number one anymore. I think he might be like number 4 or 5, but I mean, he's not like poor or anything, but it doesn't matter who you are. You can get wrapped up in this stuff and your businesses can fail. It can happen. Sometimes you see in comments, I'm just real, is that people are like, oh, well, Chris, Elon Musk is so awesome. Everything he does is success. Everything he does is awesome. And it's just like, are you crazy? Like, do you not, see that just because you maybe had some past success, it doesn't mean you can do anything and everything. Like some people just think that you can, but it's just simply not true. And, what may go down in history, and we're actually going to see, is kind of interesting, is that, maybe Elon Musk himself really did believe he could do anything because he had this army of cultists who like kept pumping up to be like that. But, ultimately this is just real. Your head gets too big for your body, right? And it kind of becomes a little bit, I guess, lopsided, and you fall off balance and you fall down. Now, can Elon Musk recover from this? That's the interesting question. I think, and this is sort of why we've been tracking it, I think the Cybertruck event at the end of the month is going to be make or break. And this is why I say this, is that looks like to me, as as I'm looking right now, as Apple's pulling their ads, that Twitter/X X is kind of on their exit way out. And if Cybertruck turns out to be this massive flop and ends up costing Tesla a ton of money, like this kind of month, where were we, November 2023 or December 2023, you could really see like maybe this was the peak of the Musk/Tesla era, and then now it's all downhill. and we'll look back in history and say, yeah, how did people ever believe in that guy? I mean, he'd be crazy. So that's how I look at this, because I lived through the dot-com bubble. I remember pets.com. I know there's a lot of the kids out there that don't know what that stuff is. And I remember lots of failed internet companies. I remember when Yahoo used to be like really, really cool. This happens. Sometimes these companies come and go. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this thing. And if you remember MySpace and Vine, do you think Twitter/X is going to go along that path? And this may be finally it. So thanks again for watching, everyone. Please share your thoughts, and I'll catch you next video.